So this is where we left off, where you guys left the meeting. So talk about the dental fluorosis. There's 5 different classifications. It's an intrinsic stain. Other systemic causes resulting from bloodborne pigments. Prolonged jaundice, if someone has that, it's going to leave a green, brown, blue hue. And these are pictures of these types. It would be called mottled enamel because it's just, it's brown and white and yellowish. Really whitish specks can be, if you look at someone's teeth like that, they probably grew up in an area of the country that had too much fluoride in their water. This is also a type of very severe dental fluorosis. This is too much water fluoride, and it can pit. It leaves these like pits, and they were getting it during all these different stages of development, kind of the whole thing of their tooth. Now, these people, once again, will not have any cavities. You'll look at these teeth, and they usually don't have cavities. If this tooth was lost, it might have been lost to perio issues, but not decay. So these are the ratings. They have a dental fluorosis severity. This is called Dean's Index, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I never see that name in that index. I have, however, seen Dean's Index referred to, and only in the manner of a question like, is there, what type of index would be used to classify different cases of fluorosis? And it would be Dean's Index. But I've never seen anything where you have to know all these different stages. But just for your information, the stage 1 would be questionable to very mild type of fluorosis. Then the next one, very mild to mild. You can see those would be examples. A moderate case, you can see that TFI 5, you can see the pits in those central incisors. Severe, and then you see that lower. And FI 6, it even looks like, it's pitted throughout that enamel. Looks like some of the enamel didn't even form on there. This is decalcification, or could be demineralization from braces. And I want to say, you can see right in the middle of these teeth, right here and here, where brackets might have been, and where it has the type of cement that they used or whatever might have leached, the minerals out of that part of the tooth. And so it's just decalcified. These are stains from braces as well. You can see right up here next to the gingival margin is what I'm talking about. Right up there, it often doesn't get clean. Maybe if they even brush their teeth, they brush this part down here and don't take it up on that side of the tooth. Excuse me a minute.
Call from Brittany Ellen. Call from Brittany Ellen. Call from Brittany Ellen.
Sorry, guys. Okay. There's white spots from acids, which dissolve teeth from poor brushing. Placa materia alba is there, you can see it around these brackets, and you can see the bottom is where the teeth are cleaned off, and the enamel loses all of its hard minerals. It just leaches out of there, and you can see the food. And when we are in, we check this to make sure that underneath it, it's not demineralized. or softened enamel. And then if it's not, to remove this, I would first take a Cavitron and which has a water spray and put it inside each of these brackets, which just is going to knock that stuff out of there in no time. Here's another picture of that plaque and materia alba, which is from poor oral hygiene, and it's wreaking havoc with the gingiva, and here where the papilla is hanging down like this long. It's doing a bad job on this person's poor teeth. They'll have straight teeth, but it's affecting their gum tissue. These are some plaque, or they're called orthopicks. These are really nice. They have all sorts of things nowadays to help clean, and it's very difficult to floss in, teeth that have braces. And so they make these type of plaques, and you can see that you use one side's thin, one side's thick, and a thick side won't go down, but the thin side will go down in between the tooth and that wire. And so it makes it easier for a person to floss. This would be a drug-induced stain and discoloration. This would be a tetracycline stain. You can see that the teeth were forming just fine up here. And then during some kind of an insult happened or trauma happened to the teeth, and it was right along this line of these teeth developing. And so they have some infected gum. This lateral, it was probably congenital, is a little smaller than it should be. And an angled tooth, and this person has a very narrow smile, just things to observe. More tetracycline stain, different types. This is ingestion of tetracycline during the 3rd trimester, can cause this. So this would be exogenous intrinsic stains, origins, inside stains from outside sources. So could be tobacco, coffee, tea, wine, and green stains. Restorative dental materials, silver amalgam. It could be gray, black, copper amalgam, primary teeth fillings, may impart a bluish green color. Endodontic therapy. Endodontic, once again, for those who have not been in the dental industry, anytime odontic is teeth, endo is inside. So when you see endodontic, it means like a periodontist who will do root canals. They go inside the tooth, and maybe they do a lot of root canals and working there. The stain in the dentin can be from a carious lesion even. So these are restorative stains. And what I want you to see is this is what the tooth should look like. And this is from an amalgam right here. And the amalgam is old, you can see, because it looks like it's lifting a little away from the tooth. It should be smooth. Those margins, outside margins of this amalgam need to be smoothed down to the enamel. And after they have been there, I mean, some of people still have, their silver amalgams are 30, 40 years old. And so when they get that old, they begin to pull away a little bit from the tooth. And then bacteria, stain, food, what gets down in there, and it will stain around the margins of the tooth. And also you get a stain from this amalgam because the amalgam can leach into the tooth and give it a stain. And so it will look like it's like grayer over here and here than it is here. And you can see that it's leached into part of the tooth. And if it doesn't do anything, that's fine, but it can really harden the tooth. And so people that have these sometimes get them removed and have composites put in or a crown put on that tooth before it fractures. So these are amalgam stains and dentin. So the mercury in these, there's a very small amount of mercury in amalgam restorations, and it's the mercury that's leaking into the tooth. And some people get really nervous about that because mercury is very toxic. And they haven't really, I've never heard of anyone that died from their amalgam leaking into their tooth. It's a very small amount, but there are other people who are like, I don't care, I don't want any of that in my system no matter what, and they'll have them removed. And this shows them being removed. These are these two fillings, and they removed those, and so it looks like this. And this is just dentin down there and kind of the stain throughout the dentin. And then they'll put probably composites. If it's too big, they'll just crown that tooth. So these are incisors that they have. They probably grind a lot. This looks like it's a little irregular on this incisal edge, so it's kind of broken off a little bit. And so they are bruxing their teeth, grinding their teeth together too much. Maybe they have an occlusion where when they bite down on their back teeth, these teeth are have edge-to-edge contact. And so from years and years of hitting on each other during speech, eating, grinding at night, whatever, it's worn down this side, and when it wears these occlusal edges down, it kind of fractures this upper side a little bit, and down here, then on the inside, it takes on different kinds of stain. This is called an amalgam tattoo in the tissue. I think we might have gone over some of this before. This is probably when they were years and years and years and years ago when they were doing this silver amalgam. Part of the amalgam probably came out and hit into this into this tissue, and then it discolors it. So when you see something like that and it's flush next to the tooth, flat like a freckle, it wouldn't be raised or lowered or anything. It's just that a color has been put into that tissue there. And those amalgam tattoos can be anywhere around a mouth. So other local causes, very low pH, like acidic foods have a very low pH under 7.4 pH. And so when they get down to like a 3.5 and a 4 point and 5 point or whatever, I think it's between, what is it, a 4.5 and a 5.5 is when enamel can start to destroy and decay. So enamel erosion causes thinner enamel, so the yellowish dentin shows through, also from acidic foods. And from the lower acidic can destroy the enamel, and that can be all happen when you have a low pH. Through eating acidic foods, carbonated drinks, eating disorders like bulimia, anyone who vomits a lot will have usually the linguals of their teeth, the enamel will be eroded off. Or they could have gastrointestinal reflux, and so it's coming up that way. So the dental records, you want to record observations from your examination. Anything that you see, you want to note the color type, the extent, the location. Information on the origins of the stain may be noted in their dental history. Tooth development, some kind of systemic disease, maybe their occupation with the dusts and everything could be the cause. We just have to be investigators, and we're sleuths that are trying to find out where these things are coming up. And mainly because we are trying to rule out cancer. So we're trying to find out what else would be the origin of some of these lesions and issues. So individual home care procedures and demonstration and frequency of continuing care appointments can help. And that would be the end of this session. So I will go ahead and put this, download it and put it on in the announcements section of your Canvas for 101 and somebody needs to tell me and email me or something and let me know if you can't see this. Okay, so have a good evening.